Hi, welcome to this episode of Founder's Journey. And today we have Roman Stepanenko. Did I get that right?
Stepanenko. That's my last name.
All
Roman.
right. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Jeff.
Well, today we have Roman, and he's going to talk about his new startup, his company. And one of his team members reached out to me on LinkedIn, and we got connected. And here we are today doing a recording of this podcast episode. And I would love for him to tell you about his journey in the insurance world and what led him to the startup of his new company.
Thank you,
Roman,
Jeff.
the mic is yours.
My journey started in 2013. I became a co-founder and chief technology officer of RiskMatch, founded by Kabir Sayed. And we were building software for the brokers, analytical software, and we were acquired by Vertafore in 2017. And I stayed there until 2020, at which point I left to start RecordLinker. And the reason I left is because there's so much data problems underneath nice looking agency management systems. And Vertafore is one of those vendors. Another one is Applied Systems. And when building RiskMatch, we saw what is behind that facade, how voluminous and problematic data problems are. And so RecordLinker, the idea behind it and our main focus is to really change lives for data conversion and data governance teams at brokers. Currently, what is happening is that especially larger brokers, I would say maybe 6, 7, 4, 3 years ago, larger brokers were still deciding which model is better to be when you're acquiring other systems to keep them as is. And another model was to try to convert them to one centralized installation of Applied Epic or Vertafore MS 360. And so those two models existed in parallel, and depending on the philosophy, depending on the people at each broker, they persisted. And I think what we're observing in the last 3 years is rapid agreement among brokers to really convert, because it convert to one central instance, be it MS 360 or Applied Epic, because that in the long run does bring benefits to the team, to the whole organization. And so what happens is that when these conversions are done after M&A, the job of converting agency management installation of the acquired agency to the central one is extremely manual. Both vendors have a well-developed tooling, ETL setups that will move the data hundreds of thousands of policies. But the reference data that is required for the successful conversion, for example, the carrier names, that always falls back to data governance and conversion teams at the broker. And this is what we do at the RecordLinker. We change lives for those teams because we use machine learning to reduce times it takes to manually map all different spellings of Philadelphia Indemnity Insurance Company in the acquired system to the one that is in the destination. I choose Philadelphia Indemnity Insurance Company as one of my favorite writing companies' names, because when we have standardized 150 million policies at Vertafore Data Lake in the past, we have discovered 800 case-insensitive, distinct spellings of just that one company. This is a great illustration of how wide the problem is. And this is just one of the 15,000 companies that exist. So the teams that have to convert the data, that have to standardize this reference data, are really having a bad time. And this is what we do. We change their daily experience of working with this reference data, and we take it to the next level with the help of machine learning.
We're going to story tell this a little bit slower for some of the audience who are not familiar. Roman, why don't we go back to in the beginning, like when you started working in this field? How'd you get into this field?
It was an accident, completely unanticipated. Somebody whom I knew well recommended me to talk to Kabir, and Kabir was just about to start RiskMatch. And at first, when I joined RiskMatch, I thought we will be done in like 3 months because it looked like just a simple reporting analytical BI tool that brokers needed. And only after we got the first set of the raw data from the agency management systems, only then did I realize how much work it would be. And so to a large degree, the basis for understanding all of the systems out there, Cegita, Benefit Point, MS360, Epic, TAM, Vision, Gen 4, Brokerage Builder, like tons of them. I'm not even mentioning a bunch of others, right? There are like 40 of them. So seeing data for each one of that and each installation of those systems is completely different. That was basically the deep dive into the insurance, which I really did not anticipate in 2013 when we were talking with Kabir.
What's your background? What did you do before this?
Before that, I was all my life I was a software developer. I started programming at 13, and I was working for a bunch of startups in early 2000s, which were successfully shut down by venture capitalists when they ran out of money. And then I worked at the UBS, Union Bank of Switzerland. Then I worked for a company called APX. We were building environmental commodities platform in anticipation of cap and trade. And then I had my child, and then I took a break. And this is when, during that break, this is when I started thinking about other things to do. And that's how I met Kabir. That's how I got into insurance.
Nice. And what's your journey like in the insurance world when you first got in? You realize your tasks on hand and all these data you have to figure out how to use.
It was very, very intense, honestly, because when you don't have any background and all the agency management systems, when you're a vendor, you don't have access to them, right? And this is what we were initially 10 years ago, 12 years ago, right? But once you start talking to people, you start learning about the problems they have. And also, I had an unfair advantage because Kabir, he spent last 20 years or 25 years in the insurance. So he actually knew everything about the business. So and listening to him and writing all of that for the team to learn as well made it very, it made a difference, right? Because this way you at least know what to look for. And then once you start looking at the data, you start connecting the dots.
What made you leave?
I stayed with Vertafore for 3 years, and I'm just entrepreneurial, and I like building things. And I would have to say that maybe reporting and PowerPoints is just not something that I see it as a tool, not as the job description. And I just wanted to do really something helpful to help people
Yeah.
rather than just more managerial status reporting, which is a process-oriented thing, which some companies are really intent on.
You guys were acquired by Vertafore, right?
Yes, yes. So I left after Vertafore acquired us. I stayed for 3 years with Vertafore.
Was that their length of the non-compete 3 years for requirement to stay on?
Well, 3 years was to stay on for my contract, and then I obviously had a 1 year non-compete, non-solicitation, which I did to the letter. So I started RecordLinker 1 year after I left Vertafore. And I should mention that probably I didn't have to do it because we're not really competing with the Vertafore and RiskMatch in any way. RiskMatch is an analytical system, and RecordLinker is a system that helps larger brokers convert data to one of their primary systems. and we do none of the analytical work that RiskMatch does. And we are Orange partner, and we wouldn't be Orange partner if Vertafore thought that we're in any way competing. So we actually turned out to be very complementary thing for both Vertafore and RecordLinker, because we help Vertafore clients convert to their platform faster. And we are also partner of the applied systems. As I mentioned, there are two main vendors in the broker space, and it is pretty much duopoly right now. And we're very excited to work with applied. So via API access, we are able to do miracles for both platforms in terms of data conversions and data governance teams.
When you guys were acquired, are you comfortable talking about the deal with Vertafore on the first acquisition?
I can talk about some things, but sure.
Yeah. What was the acquisition?
We were acquired in 2017. We were about 60 people at the time, I would say.
That's a significant tech startup.
Yes. Well, RiskMatch was a very successful company. We were the leading provider of analytics. Since then, the landscape has changed because brokers now have very, very good data teams.
Do they?
Brown, yes.
You're talking about big brokers. You're not talking about
Yes.
the average mom and pop, 2 million, 1 million revenue brokers.
That's fair. Yes. For those
I mean,
smaller
there's
ones,
like some data out there, like 80% of brokers with less than 500,000 in revenue.
Yes. We are naturally targeting larger brokers because they are the ones doing the M&A and who have dedicated teams for the data governance. That's a fair point. Yes, Jeff.
Okay. So you're a new venture, you're looking to start it up, and you rolled it out when did RecordLinker come out? Thank you for watching this video. Now a quick message from our sponsor, Mav.
Thanks, Jeff. I want to let you all in on a secret that top producing agencies don't want you to know about. If you're in P&C insurance, you know firsthand how much you're getting squeezed by your call center. It's becoming less predictable and less economically profitable to scale. But here's the thing. The top producing agencies making over $100 million are not running their leads through a human-based call center. They're running them through an AI expert like Mav to qualify, quote, and hand deliver the highest intent qualified leads to your agents. Mav takes care of the back and forth, having unlimited 24/7 conversations with your leads that are personal and relevant so you can scale to the moon. Ready to ditch your call center and 10x your agency? We're giving the listeners of insurtech's $15,000 worth of credit to try Mav. Head to hiremav.com/insurtechs to claim this offer.
We started in 2021, the very end of it, and we incorporated in 2022, February. So we're almost 3 years now.
And did you bootstrap it yourself? Did you raise a pre-seed round? Friends and family?
I bootstrapped it myself, so we don't have any investors, and it is very comfortable situation for us right now because we really focus on the clients. The board cannot tell me what to do simply because it does not exist, and I run it as a business, not as a startup in a traditional sense. So startup is a tool to getting good things done for the clients. Our clients is what drives what we do, the features we add. We are in very close contact, and it's very interesting because data conversion teams, I would estimate that in the United States, maybe 300, 400 altogether people are doing conversions, no more. So compared to producers, account owners, CSRs, right? There are thousands of them. But the people who are actually carrying all the weight of the conversions on their shoulders, practically invisible, and there are very few of them. So we're a very niche product for very niche audience.
But these data conversion team work with BPOs, right? Offshore.
This is the interesting thing about insurance because companies change name. So there's let's say, a Fireman's Fund of Georgia, which went through 3 or 4 acquisitions and ended up as Pi insurance company. So when you're doing conversion, when you acquire an agency which has this Fireman's Fund of Georgia as the writing company, you really don't want to create Fireman's Funds of Georgia because it's gone for a long time now in your destination system. You have to know that actually you should convert those policies to the Pi insurance company, because that's what it remained after all of these chains of acquisitions in the carriers. So if you outsource, typically you'll just get copy paste in the conversion, and that's not what your business wants. So conversions actually require understanding of industry, specifically
Insurance.
United States insurance, understanding of your own business. Because each broker, when they set up the companies and their agency management installation, being Applied Epic or MS360, there are certain philosophies how granular they go in terms of the companies they create, how they approach with the renaming of the companies or mergers and acquisitions between them, how soon they do it. So you have to understand that folklore as well. And this is the reason why what all conversion teams are onshore. They are very experienced in insurance, and they're very stressed out because there's a shortage of people who know enough about what's happening, how to differentiate the coverages between that system and this system. And so what happens is during the conversion process for both vendors, professional services for each vendor does the restoration of the backup, and they come back saying, hey, you have 1 week to map 3,000 carriers to your destination. And what happens, people end up working till 1 a.m. They work on the Labor Day, Thanksgiving. And this is a very stressful job without the help of the centralized system that can help you quickly map all of these reference data entities to your destination.
So you guys have a software with AI machine learning that's basically supporting them on conversion, but it doesn't do the conversion itself.
It helps with conversion, correct?
It helps
Because
with
the vendors themselves, they already have their ETL platform, both Vertafore and Applied, that moves the policies. The trick is correctly preparing all the reference data to the destination format.
So what happens when currently today you guys are only in Vertafore and Apply Epic?
That is
Are
correct.
there any other requests or timelines that you guys gonna have for other software like Hawksoft, now certs, which is now come momentum?
Yes, we are open to integrating with all platforms. Behind the scenes, RecordLinker is a generic platform. So there's a fundamental thing which is not even tied to insurance, right? The metadata driven setup. Then there is insurance specific things, and then there are core system specific augmentation, because each core system has a slightly different validation logic, for example, different data element and attributes on each type of entity. Even the company or employee is equally like, it looks similar, but between these two systems, they have completely different things per employee, like in schedule format, the active inactive, permissioning, etc. So we customize to each core system using our very flexible metadata driven setup.
How big is the team today?
We're 6 people. I should
How'd you-
add that these
how'd
are
you
the
find the
people.
team?
Well, most of the team are my former coworkers from RiskMatch. So
You know them well.
we work as a team, and knowing somebody for more than 10 years or 12 years now really simplifies the work. And also, the important thing is, it might look small, but the fact is, you know what not to do. And this is the biggest factor in terms of how fast we were able to build RecordLinker, just by knowing which things we should not spend time on based on all of the prior years, loading all of that data, parsing all of that data, dealing with all the things that we know should not work if you go a certain way.
What does the next 2 years look like for you guys?
We're ramping up. We're adding more and more brokers. We're especially excited about Applied systems, because we just started integrating with them in summer, And just in the last 5 months, we've made tremendous progress there. So I would say we actually do more with the applied capabilities wise than with the MS 360. And we're adding additional systems, just like you mentioned, but we're not going only for the brokers. We're adding the wholesalers, MGAs, and the carriers as well. We're also a member of the Guidewire insurtech Vanguard group, and we're also doing something with the carriers, which I am under NDA and I cannot really talk about. But our path is really start with the brokers, become profitable, and then start expanding into those additional layers inside the insurance segment.
Hmm. Any path forward with Salesforce as well or no?
Way open. Frankly, I don't know anybody at the Salesforce. So just any introductions, if any listeners are there, they can introduce me. Much appreciated. Send me a note.
That's pretty cool. Anything else is on your product line launch ambitions?
Yes, we're gonna, in addition to expanding our set of core systems, we're gonna go deeper into actually helping with the conversion. What is happening right now is, as I mentioned, both large vendors, they support migrations. Reality is slightly more nuanced. Both vendors support migrations from their own installations and from their main competitors. So for Vertafore, it will be Applied Systems and another MS360 installation. For Applied Systems, it will be another installation of Applied and Vertafore MS360. And things like you mentioned the now Search Momentum and Hawksoft and EasyLinks and Sagitas and smaller, there are a bunch of those systems currently require a lot of additional effort by the data conversion team to actually convert the data, in addition to standardizing reference data, but to convert the data into the format that each vendor wants. Because the vendor basically says, this is a data dictionary of 100 fields for the policy, 20 fields for the customer, etc., etc. So even to transfer the basic policy information without the detailed information on the coverage specific level, it's an effort for the team. We are going to be improving that as well. And I hope to basically make a large announcement towards the end of the year.
Let me ask you this question, and you don't have to answer. What do you think is the hardest part of this journey to build it? Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
Hardest thing was really trusting your gut feeling. I started RecordLinker with a very strong gut feeling because I saw the glimpse of how bad the data is. But the gut feeling does not translate to getting paying customers. I have a wall here, which basically I put a bunch of sticky notes, and one of them says, as the step number 3, find paying customer, right? So that translation between, I believe there is something there to actually having somebody send you a check and signing the agreement, that was, I think, in a nutshell, is the hardest thing. All other things like the convincing people to join you, actually building the product, after having built RiskMatch, all of that was very easy. It's not something that it's hard, but it's not the risk factor, right? You know how to build. The thing is making sure that what you're building actually helps somebody. That was the hardest thing. Listening and actually translating your belief into the paying customer.
Who was the first paying customer?
Hill Group. And
Oh, nice.
Hill Group is a trusted partner. They're our customer for 3 years now. And they also, I'm not raising their prices because it took a leap of faith on their side to trust RecordLinker. And I was very fortunate to work with a really talented team there, Wanda Jones. And honestly, we have changed so much in the last 3 years just by listening to feedback of what the team needs, of how to be more efficient. I would say at least half of the features that we have built strictly came from the Hill Group. Like it has very good imprint. And then all our clients, the Brown and Brown, Relation Insurance, Truecordia, King Risk Partners, they are all adding to that very talented set of people who say what needs to be done. And we listen to that, and that's why we're so successful.
I think this is like, if I'm a venture capital guy and I'm listening to the story, this is like the perfect marriage. You have somebody with so much insurance experience, you've seen all the problems. And on top of that, you have every single day people feeding you all the problems live. And then you are working with your team who spent the last 10 years fixing these same problems, same type of problems and pushing to new solutions. And then on top of that, you had the background of, Grok, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, all evolutionizing at a very fast pace. This is like a lot of things aligning.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. This is pretty interesting learning. I might have to ask you to do a demo for me offline.
Of course.
Might have to schedule a
happy.
time because I consult with companies as well. And I'm just sitting here thinking about like there's probably 4 or 5 companies I can send your way. But
We really changed life. We really
Yeah.
changed life or for the people doing the conversion. Like are we off the recording?
No, we're still recording. But keep going.
Well, one of the thing is I would say like one of the differences between RiskMatch and RecordLinker was that with the RiskMatch, clients were not really people who were doing daily job with the RiskMatch, right? We were always selling to the chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief revenue officer of a larger broker, because they wanted to see the cumulative information across all of the installations for agency management systems. And what happened is really they would get those reports once a quarter, once a month, but we never got to the point where the producers were using it as a daily tool, for example, right, or account owners. And with the RecordLinker, what happens is we don't sell to the executive team. We don't go to CEO, we don't go to chief information officer, because surprisingly, in most companies, very few companies, but in most companies, people don't really know about people who are doing conversions. They don't want to know. This is like somebody does it, right? And I don't need to know how it's done. And so what happens is our most successful channel is by word of mouth between the people doing the conversions. They talk to their friends. It's a very small, very, very small group of people tightly connected. And when they go to another broker, first thing they said is, I'm not doing that manually anymore in the portal. I want a tool that's built for me. And so the difference between the RiskMatch and RecordLinker was that the people using us are really using us daily. They use us. It's getting actually hard to deploy sometimes because we want to deploy in the weekend and somebody is doing hard work at 8 p.m. on Saturday or Sunday morning. This is how intense their lives are. So we got to this point where our users are a very small group and they're using us daily and they rely on us. And if something goes wrong, we get email about, hey, that doesn't work. Like, we need to fix it. So that feedback about the usage on a daily basis by end users is completely different in profile to what we had with the RiskMatch. And this is much more gratifying because you actually know that daily you're helping somebody doing their really get rid of the laborious efforts in the manual mapping. This is the best feeling, I would say. Whole team really enjoys knowing we're helping somebody.
That's really cool. I've seen it done a few times, part of the agency that I've been with. And yeah, it's not a fun process. And the conversion team, they definitely don't enjoy it. And, they work hard. There's a couple Facebook groups out there. I'm sure you know about those Facebook groups for AMS guys and Vertifor and Epic guys, right? So, well, Roman, thank you for coming on today. And I'm probably going to have you on toward the year end. Let's see if we can schedule something and have you come back to do your big announcement. And also love to see where you go from here and how you guys can scale in the next 6 to 9 months.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jeff, and thank you for all the questions you have asked. I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Is there anything that we missed?
No, that's I just it was funny. I never, like, sometimes only when you start talking about something, then something crystallizes. So thank you for giving me this chance to just relieve about some of the things I spoke.
Oh, we will be tagging you. We'll be sharing this podcast, and then make sure you guys go follow Roman on LinkedIn and reach out to him. So thank you for coming on, Roman.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.